Hello, 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 you all. Come in, hit the like, hit the share button. I am um, answering a question I received via email, and this is going to be a live stream right out the dome. Because as you know, right, I really don't do business on Sundays. I will live stream, well, I will live stream. And I want to answer these questions, and I have started back assisting and helping people repair their credit. So I am busy, busy, busy. The one question that I was asked via email that I found some time today to answer is or was what to do if I have been charged, and I'm just looking at my notes, forgive me for looking down. But if you're tuning in, let me know what part of the world you are tuning in from. Come in and hit the like and hit the share button, and let me know what part of the world you are tuning in from. Um, if I have been summoned, right? If I've been summoned, I received a court date from a debt collector. What should I do? Now, let me make this plain and clear, right? That most debt collectors receive their money, their judgment from a default judgment, meaning that two things either happen. People either show up for court. I'm sorry, don't show up for court and they receive a default judgment. Um, They just don't show up for court. They ignore it. They ignore the court date, or they show up for court, and the very first question that the judge asks them when they show up for court that incriminates many is this your debt? Right? And most people will respond yes. And the reason why most people will respond yes is because the debt at that point is connected to an original creditor that they know, right? An original creditor. So they will assume that, hey, yes, I did business with XYZ company, although ABC company purchased that debt, which means you no longer owe it at that point, and they will assume that it's their debt. Now, ABC company purchased that debt and for pennies on a dollar, and they are attempting to collect the full amount from you. So the original creditor, whoever you did business with, wins because they sell the debt, they get rid of it. Their company files a 1099. They oftentimes have insurance for it anyway in case consumers default. And then for them, it's a tax write-off, right? Because these companies make billions and billions of dollars, and so they need tax deduction. So it's like, hey, we'll sell it to you cheap. We'll write it off on our 1099 as a tax deduction, and um, we'll get paid from our insurance all the time. While consumers that are uneducated, right? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's just you don't know what you don't know, and so what does it mean when a debt collector purchases your debt? Well, what does it mean for you? You first need to ask them for proof and make sure that they follow the law when they're trying to collect the debt from you. Again, most debt collectors get the money from a default judgment. Either you, the consumer, show up for court and say, yes, it is mine, when it's really not. Because again, you did business with ABC company and that's XYZ company trying to get the account from you. For example, you did business with Capital One, Midland Funding, or Portfolio Recovery purchased the debt and they want you to pay them, but you never did business with Midland Funding or Portfolio Recovery, right? That's for an example. So when you start the process, you will be asking the collection agency some hard hitting questions, very specific hard hitting questions, which are a copy of the original contract you physically sign, a copy of the original contract that you physically signed, supposedly agreeing to their payment terms when you open the account. Now, you never open an account with them. Now, what most people do as well is once they receive a summons that has been established as a court date, you will have a case number on that summons, case number X, whatever. It will show you what courthouse to appear, what time, what date. you can then counteract that summons with the response letter that you don't even have to say anything in court. You do have to show up, however. So you can compose a letter asking for these things before your court date and ask them to file it to your case number. So when they bring your file out to the judge will see that you're asking for these documents, and more than likely the debt collector will not have it. So you don't have to defend yourself in court. Now, uninformed people, that's the word I'm looking for. Uninformed people, they consider it as easy money, like low hanging fruit. You're uninformed of your rights, your laws by the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act, and they're putting you on notice. They actually have to do their job and follow the law. It goes way beyond debt collectors not being able to call you at certain hours, not being able to call you but once a week, harassing you. Listen, you need validation demands for that validations of the proof that they say that you owe. And again, you can definitely put that in writing. It definitely will help you to know the laws of the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act as well. And because at this point, the debt is not, or it's an item that's not 100% yours. And if they have filed this on your credit report, these are grounds as well to get it deleted from your credit report. So the debt no longer belongs to you. You no longer owe the original creditor if they allow a debt collector to purchase your debt. Right at that point, the slate is clean. You don't owe Capital One, for example, because Midland Funding or Portfolio Recovery purchased your debt for them. They decided to use it as a tax write-off, leverage the insurance against it. Now the debt collector has to bank on you being an uninformed consumer and you don't know the laws of the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act or your rights and to collect from you, right? Also, some other thing I'm just going to throw into this live stream. If you have a collection account reporting on your credit report, it cannot have a limit. I've seen many credit cards, for example, that have a high credit limit still reported on their credit report. A collection, and it's gone into collections. A collections account cannot have a limit. If you have a charge off on your credit report, it cannot be listed as open or a collection. I've seen hundreds of credit reports that have collection/charge off. That's inaccurate. So those are grounds, legality grounds under the Fair Credit Reporting Act to get those items deleted. Now, the thing about a collection account that is far different from student loans account, many people think that when I get my student loan account deleted from my credit report, I no longer owe the debt. I no longer owe the student loan. And that's far from the truth. Your credit report, it's just your report card like you would get in school of your performance of paying your creditors. So just because, for example, your student loan is deleted from your credit report does not mean that you do not owe that student loan account. It's just not showing on your credit report. However, if a creditor or collection agency cannot provide you as proof, right? And you have to know what proof is. They can give you an itemized printout of your statement from credit cards. And under the Fair Credit Reporting Act law, that is not considered proof. And you also have to know which law to state and refer to, because a lot of these judges that you might go up against, they might not know the laws themselves. That happened with my Navy Federal $50,436 account. A judge, she was not aware of the law herself under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. So what you have to do sometimes is, like your state, whether you are in Massachusetts, Michigan, Mississippi, right? Your state have local laws that are a mirror to the federal laws. So sometimes you have to Google credit laws in my state, whatever your state is, credit laws in Texas, credit laws in Missouri, credit laws in Georgia. You get the idea. And so you have to know these laws. And if they cannot find your original contract, right, then it is not your debt. And once your debt is sold to a company that you didn't do business with, if you know the laws of the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, they have no right to collect that money from you. So when you know these laws, you're actually glad that the original creditor sold your debt. Now, if the original creditor did not sell your debt, like Navy Federal did not sell my debt, and you have to, I guess, fight is a word, or go to court against the original creditor, then that's a whole different strategy. It's an entirely different strategy. There's a quote by Hitler that says you need to learn the game, because if you don't learn how to play the game is going to be played on you. And I'm that's not his direct way that he said it, but that's how I translated it so you can understand. Like, either you learn how to play the game, or they are going to play the game on you. Right? Like, most people don't know, for example, the game of Monopoly. It is a true live story of J.P. Morgan, the banker. Like, the game of Monopoly tells you that either you use paper money, cash, to get assets, or you are going to get left behind of the American dream. Why? Because assets appreciate, they go higher in value. Liabilities depreciate, meaning that you can buy a vehicle 2 or 3 years ago and you try to resell it or turn it or trade it in, and it's less thousands and thousands than what you originally purchased it for. But assets are a thing that continues to grow in value. And as the United States dollar continues to lose its purchasing power and purchase less and less, I was at the grocery store today, and a man ahead of me was telling me how to cook red snapper, which I have some right here. I've almost demolished it. And he was telling me how he seasoned his red snapper and cook it. Well, his total for his grocery was $156. And he said, well, it's not that bad. And he had a small cart, the push cart, the grocery cart. And I said, that's not that bad. But I said, years ago, you could have had the full size grocery cart for $156 and had way more than 5 bags of grocery. You could have had almost 15. So your cash loses its purchasing power. So the only way you're going to win the game of Monopoly is teaching you in real life how to win. Robert Kiyosaki says this way: 4 greenhouses, 2 red hotels. I just listened to a rap by Master P, and he was talking about getting in real estate, but for most people, real estate is overpriced. And now it's crypto, the virtual world. And so when you don't have positive cash flow, you can't have assets. I've seen people that get job promotions, go to other jobs and make more money, and still do not have assets in their life. They have nothing that makes their money works harder for them. Nothing. All they do is work for money. And this is what Robert Kiyosaki meant when he said rich people don't work for money. Yes, they get money, but they convert their money into assets, real estate, cryptocurrency, gold, silver, platinum, palladium, things that's going to increase in value, passive income, residual income. They just don't do active income. See, their paradigm of cash is to just convert it into real world assets, because they see that cash has lost over 90% of its purchasing power since 1971. And that's when President Nixon removed it from being attached to gold. And then they went to calling it the petrodollar. Now Saudi Arabia does not want to exchange the United States dollar for their oil. So what makes your cash valuable is when it's backed by a commodity, oil, land, real estate, gold, silver, diamonds, God's money, not man's money. I know Dave Ramsey taught you all that gold is a commodity. Even if you have your cash in agriculture, you buy land and you farm, or you invest in farming, or you get dividend paying stocks for passive income. And yes, using credit cards just like you would use your debit card is a way of getting passive income if you have good credit, because it pays you out cash rewards. And all you have to do is have a shift in your mindset and say, okay, I'm going to use this credit card. I'm not going to use my credit card to do things like take vacations for the money I don't have to pay off. So I can get a temporary pleasure, but a long-term displeasure, because now I have to pay for this vacation for 2 or 3 years for a 2 or 3 day vacation. My mentor told me this way: rich people travel, poor people take vacations. Rich people go on trips, poor people take vacations. Nothing wrong with vacation, but you have to have a long-term plan for the life that your short-term vacation is what you're trying to escape from. And that's where people just say, hey, I'm YOLOing. You only live once, one life, why not? I'm going to go on this vacation now. But rich people think generationally. In fact, the Bible tells you that a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, which means you are thinking generational. Whether you die tomorrow or not, you're leaving something for your children or your children's children, or you're leaving something for a charity for other people's children. Might not be your own, even if you don't have children, but you're leaving a legacy, right? You're leaving a legacy. You're just not living for liabilities. Liabilities are things that take money out of your pocket. Assets are things that put money into your pocket. So even if you've been summoned, right? I'm back to the point that I hit the go live button. You still have time to go to the courthouse, compose your letter, respond to that in writing, and make sure you show up in court so that you do not get a default judgment. Default judgment means you're not here, right? So the judge is going to judge award that debt collector by default. And so you can say, you know where the court date is, the case. I personally respond to my summons, or I have in the past, before the court date. Anyway, you don't want to wait to day of court, because you never know what evidence, that might compose. And oftentimes the debt collector never have the original signed contract, because a lot of times you don't sign contracts with your signature, but that is still the law. The only time you really sign contractual agreements is when you purchase a vehicle or you purchase a home. Credit cards, some people ask, is e-signature valid verification? Yes and no, because anyone could have stolen your identity or completed the application, right, and sign your name through e-signature. Do they have the VPN evidence? So this goes deep in the rabbit hole than what I'm going to go stay on this live stream. I don't give people the answers for free, right? The knowledge is free, but the information is going to cost you. But I give you enough that if you want to take your time and read and research on your own to find the answer that it took me years and experience to find, I give you enough knowledge to do that. But some people's like, no, Queen, look, I don't have time. Time is money, and I have a court date in 15, 20 days, whatever. And so if you're someone that wants to invest maybe hundreds so you can save out on thousands, that's an investment, right? Then you can text credit to 331-444-5556. And notice I said text, because I'm not going to get on the phone and talk to you about something we can exchange text messages about when I'm helping my other clients and consulting them. I don't have time for 15, 20, 30 minutes conversation. If I text you something and say I need this, 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 and that, then you give me this, and that via email or whatever it is and make the transaction smoother. You are not the only person I'm helping. You're not my only client. And I learned when I did this years ago that most people that pick up the phone and talk, they just want to talk and vent. This is why my credit get in this situation. Or they want me to get on the phone with them and talk and give them free advice. And I'm not doing it. My time is money. In fact, my time is more precious than money. I'm not getting on the phone holding a conversation for you so I can drop you free game or so you can just vent to me and tell me why your credit score is so bad. Listen, I've seen hundreds of credit reports. I don't think it's one that I seen years ago that was like, wow, I deleted thousands. I mean, every major credit card you can think of, American Express, Discover, Bank, Bank of America. I mean, any major credit card you can think of, this person had it. Thousands of charge off. I don't know what the situation was, but they had thousands of charge offs of credit card debt. And I deleted thousands. And all they invested was hundreds. Now, unlike a student loan, once you get those credit card debts deleted off your credit report, they have changed to charge-off/collection activity. If the original creditor sold it to a collection company, you don't owe that account at that point. But you do know how to respond to the debt collector. So if it's a debt collector, you have to know the laws of the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act. If it's the original creditor that's coming after you, if it's Navy Federal, PenFed, Amex, Discover, right, then you now have to use the laws of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And then you have to know the laws of the Fair Billing Credit Act as well. Because the game is different when you're talking to a third party person that you never signed a contract with versus the original creditor who you did have an agreement with to pay back. The game is different. All right, you all, that's my 22 plus minutes of fame. Just want to answer that question. You all, do me a favor, right? Hit the thumbs up button, share this video. I gave you a lot of free game, and maybe there are some other people that need to hear this as well. Again, if you want credit consultation, my time is not free. You can invest $25, a small amount, and text credit to 331-444-5556. And I will analyze your credit report and then get back with you with a quote of how much it would be to work with me to get the results you want. I'm signing out. Peace. Have a great rest of your night. Queen out.